Are we saying that football fans are weak, are stupid, like as a collective?
Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying this video. Please like and subscribe if you do. Enjoy.
Hi everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to DMC TV. As you can see today, I have some good friends of mine joining me. We have Sean, Callum and Eben. These are good friends over the past few years from school, sport, whatnot. And today we're going to be discussing why are football fans financially exploited by their clubs? Why do they let them do this by clubs, TV companies? And what can be done to resolve this? You know, football fans pay extortionate amount of money for tickets, merchandise, TV, you know, BT, Sky, the rest of it, rights to watch football. Why do they let themselves be exploited this way? Football's changed a lot the last 20, 30 years, particularly since the introduction of the Premier League. And football's changed a lot in our short lifetimes. We're all under 30 here. So essentially, why do football fans let themselves be exploited? Going to open the floor now to comments from Eben to start off with and get this chat rolling.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for having me on your channel. Yeah, basically, my thoughts on this are they exploit the love of the fans' club. So, for example, ticket prices home and away. Maybe not away. They put a cap on away tickets.
Yeah, they capped that the other year, didn't they?
Yeah, they capped the away games. However, home games, they're still rising every year. And I think it's due to, they think that the fans, there's so many fans for every club in the Premier League. The Premier League is such a big, what's the word I'm looking for? Institution, you could say, I don't know. And so many fans for each different club from top to bottom. And there's always going to be another person in the queue. So if someone says, no, I'm not paying that, the next one is going to come along and pay that. Just because there's so many people, there's a massive pond for these owners of clubs and owners of TV stations, Sky, BT, whatever it is, whatever you name it, to exploit. They can exploit this amount of people. But at the same time, football fans have to take blame themselves. They have to one day maybe put their foot down and say enough is enough, but they won't ever do that. I can't see that ever happening because they just don't tend to come together and say, well, there's exceptions. Liverpool fans are quite good for it. With regards to I can't remember what game it was now, but they all walked out at a certain minute of the match because Liverpool wanted to up the prices for a certain game for the home games. And when they did that, Liverpool hierarchy didn't go through with it. So Liverpool fans are quite good. In general, football fans, they're not very good at coming together and putting their foot down and protesting and saying enough is enough. But
there's been like a few examples recently where like fans have come together, like stopping the Super League, things like that.
Yeah.
That was all really money motivated. So that was a good example. And also, do you remember during lockdown where Sky tried to charge £15 per game for games they weren't showing on TV?
You could do like
like you could do like so obviously the games, if you had Sky, obviously the games that they chose to show anyway was fine. But if you wanted to watch additional games, it was £15 per game. So if your team wasn't on TV, that was another way where they were trying to exploit you to make another 15 quid instead of thinking, actually, these lot pay enough, let's give it to them for free. But then in the end, fans all protested and that got scrapped in the end. But they just always see fans as just another way to make money just in any sort of scenario possible. That's all football's become now, unfortunately. It's not a working man's game anymore.
Yeah. And another point I'll quickly make is that if you look at 95% of footballers, if not all of them, they all come from working class backgrounds. So like, I don't know what point I'm trying to make, but the game is going to a point where it's like middle class, upper class type of people can only afford these tickets. And even if you were to total up the amount you were to spend on watching every game through BT, Sky Sports, UEFA Champions League, Premier League, La Liga, whatever you want to watch, it's thousands and thousands of pounds.
Yeah, I saw something about that the other day when I was like looking stuff up for this. So it was for like, I saw a stat for I think it was the 2019-2020 season. If you wanted to watch every possible broadcasted game, so that means having BT, having Sky, having Amazon, it's over £1,000 for the year to watch
Yeah.
games on
Nice.
TV. Yeah, which is, and that's just for 1 year, and obviously fans want to see it all year, every year, so they
Is
keep
that
forking
just
out this
for
money.
English and European games? That's not even for like.
Yeah. No, that well, just as far as that's just for like Prem games and like Champions League on BT, things like that.
That's
It's ridiculous. It's crazy money for the working class man, and it's supposed to be a working class sport with working class.
Yeah. Sorry, I think the issue, like you said, Evan, is if people don't turn up for teams like Arsenal, Spurs, United, if fans, like say there's 10,000 season ticket holders, be like, right, we're going to cancel our season tickets. There's tens of thousands in the queue waiting. It literally makes no difference whatsoever. If there are 10,000 Arsenal fans, we're like, right, sod this, we're done. You've got 50, 60,000. I know it's like over a 10-year plus waiting list to get a season ticket at Arsenal. I went to, not a Spurs fan, I went to Spurs Man City a few years ago when Spurs beat City 2-0. And there must have been 1,000 Koreans in the stadium for Sun. So you got 5,000, say, English supporters don't want to go to the game. Spurs are going to easily fill those seats up, even with a few thousand Koreans, other supporters on the waiting list. That they've got fans. They've just got fans like that. Fans have it so tough at individual club level to actually do anything about this.
It's going only in one direction, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, well, it's all going up, isn't it? Like, even not just tickets, but like merchandise and things like that. Like I was in the Spurs shop the other day because me and my dad did the Skywalk for his birthday when he got up onto the roof of the stadium, and the Skywalk with a discount just to go onto the roof of the stadium and like have a look round, and they gave you a can of beer at the top, was 110 quid.
Sorry?
And then 110 quid to do the Skywalk.
Well, I on the Spurs website for a T-shirt, just for the playing club T-shirt, £75 now. When did that happen?
Honestly, some of the faces my dad used to put at me when I used to ask for like when I was like 15, 16, I'd be like, can I get a team shirt? And he'd look at me and he'd laugh, be like, you must be joking. And the thing is, they do it every season now. It used to be the case you could have the same shirt for 2 years. That then changed. You probably have a case in a few years it'll be like half a season shirt, and they'll change it halfway through the season just to try and rinse fans.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's the thing. Like the home shirts are so expensive now, and they only last you a year, and it's out of date, and you want the next one. So
Today, actually, Arsenal made 1 million off their away kit. The first day it went on sale, they made 1 million in the first day. It's just crazy. It's mental. It's all about money and corporate and blah 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 blah. It's not really the game I fell in love with, but maybe that's taking it a step far. I still love it, but
that's the thing. That's the thing. Yeah, they know you'll still watch or like however way you can turn up to games when you can. That's the issue.
Are we basically, with us, Carl? Are we basically saying, we'll just carry on until he comes back? Are we saying that football fans are weak, are stupid, like as a collective? Are we saying that?
I think definitely. Oh, maybe stupid is a bit. I think maybe a bit blind. I'd say like when it comes to football, like people are so tribal when it comes to football. They'll sort of do anything for like the love of their team without realizing that they're being ripped off. And even if like you go away from like the money they spend, but like when you have debates over certain things with football fans, like they're so blinded in their views to defend their club that they'll do anything. So, and owners and that, and they all know this. So
isn't that stupidity?
yeah,
I guess you could. I'm trying to be polite.
I think as a collective, I think football fans are, to be honest with you. Like, I'm part of the problem as well to an extent, because you just love it too much. But there has to come a point and where you just say no. I mean, as fans years ago, even if you didn't have Sky Sports and everything else, you could still get some Champions League games on ITV. That's gone.
Yeah.
You now have Sky Sports, BT, and even then that's not enough. Then you have to get Amazon.
Amazon's involved.
And now there might be more stuff in the future. It used to be Setanta. They got rid of that. That's where BT sort of filled that hole. I mean, like you say, every month the amount of money you have to pay just to watch it on the telly, let alone go to a ticket at Arsenal is just a joke. To get a decent ticket at Arsenal, halfway line ticket, you can get flights to other parts of the UK or Spain for cheaper. It's just not.
Say that. What I don't understand is why in this country do we have to pay so much to even just watch a game on the TV?
Yeah. Basically, I think what's happening is it's like very slowly, year by year, things get worse. And because it's slowly, you don't really have time to really react. Does that make sense? So with the Super League and the Sky box office, because it was so bad, they stopped it. But there's other stuff they do slowly, and eventually, like Eben said, the working class man just can't go. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So basically, I think they're trying to make football like more for the upper class than it is now. Like all these fancy seats and these boxes, and you get these it's just too much.
It's a
I
working
think
class.
Sandwich brigade.
I think it's been it's not been in the last 2 years. It's like every year gets a bit worse. I know I said already, but the shirt is £75. That's unbelievable to me.
It's disgusting, isn't it, when you think about it?
And the issue is that because of football in this country is so popular, it's like a massive culture thing, isn't it? Everyone enjoys it, and they know someone's always going to pay. Like you said, there's always someone waiting to take that seat or to buy that shirt.
Well, that's
So
the
they're
thing.
just exploiting it.
With the shirts, that's the fans' fault. If they weren't selling these shirts for 75 quid, they'd reduce the price.
I know, but if you've got like a little kid who wants to buy a shirt,
Well, you've just got to say, get over it and just, give him a cuddly toy or something, like
Did,
75 quid for a shirt. Are you
Did you
joking?
see the stat about how many Son shirts Spurs sold when they went to Korea in like those few days?
No.
It was like thousands. Like Spurs were only over there for a couple of days, and thousands of those shirts got sold. That's what I mean. It's just
The Asian fan, they go crazy over. Like I remember Park Ji-sung as well when Man United, I think they played pre-season. I don't think it was Korea. It was somewhere in Asia. But they just go mental for their superstars. It's unbelievable, and they're willing to just pay or do whatever.
Yeah.
Get a bit of memorabilia or go and watch them or whatever it is. So I think that's an avenue which they exploit as well. Like, yeah, he's an anomaly. Like, he's so good in that part of the world. Like, he's such a good footballer, an amazing footballer, world class. And he comes from that part of the world where we haven't really had that many world class.
yeah, it's rare.
So I think so many Asians gravitate to it, not just Koreans, probably other
From the Far
countries.
East, yeah.
It's a whole Spurs, and they'd be dumb not to exploit it. To be honest,
yeah,
They-
absolutely.
It's clever. It's clever, really. Like,
I'm pretty sure the only reason Spurs went over there this year is for that reason only. There's no other reason.
Probably, yeah.
probably.
Like, you can't blame the companies for like taking advantage of people's, whatever the word is, desires. Like,
Yeah, because it's a business, isn't it? To them, it's a business.
it is.
Yeah. And I think the main thing is that sometimes we don't realise it, but every year the football gets bigger, the Premier League gets bigger every single year, not just here, on like the whole world, on like a massive scale, it gets bigger.
Mm.
And like with the whole thing with the Super League, that shows that all these massive investors and banks and stuff, they all can see it growing, and they're all trying to make this product, and it is going to keep happening again. I think. I don't think that's the end of that.
Can it grow much more than it has now? I mean, let's be honest, the Super League only failed because companies like Sky they were scared like crazy.
yeah. Well, Sky only put pressure on cancelling that because they weren't getting the rights to it. That's that.
Yeah.
They ripped you off just as much as anyone. So
I mean, yeah, they were talking about corporate greed and all the rest of it. I mean, you've got to be joking. They charge 40 quid
I know.
just for Sky
No.
Sports.
they
remember-
wheeled Gary Neville out to give a passionate speech.
Yeah. So they had that whole thing. They're all so upset. Literally 1 month before, they were doing Sky box office, like we just said earlier, for like the most awful games. It was like really bad games as well.
What's
It was
Skybox?
like two-
The one where they were charging 15 quid for the
Oh,
games. Yeah, in lockdown. Yeah.
And it's just
And
not
there's
just football, is it? Sorry, Cal, go on.
No, I was going to say the whole box office thing. That was the same thing. It got massive outrage, and they stopped it. So that does some part of me thinks that if there's like a massive outrage, stuff could be stopped. But like you said earlier, football fans can't come together that much on many things. Like on the Super League, they all came together. Everyone was on the same page in Super League, weren't they?
yeah.
There was hardly anyone who thought,
Yeah.
we should be
I feel like that was only because of the media, though.
really.
Yeah, I feel like Sky drummed
Maybe.
people up all over the country. If Sky were on board with it, I don't feel like it would have been stopped.
Yeah,
Like,
I've said this
Sky
many
Sport-
times. Yeah,
Sky
I've
Sports
said this
did
many
so
times.
much coverage, negative coverage about that stuff, and so you had
Yeah.
fans outside stadiums protesting. I'm not convinced it would have happened. But if they'd said this is a great idea, because people are swayed by, journalists, the media.
Absolutely.
Oh, big time.
Big
But
time.
do you know the main reason for the Super League not happening is just due to it's not very like competitive, no competition. Like it just eliminates. Obviously, there's competition within the 20 teams, but it's like the NBA or NFL.
Yeah, but I think that's the whole plan. They're trying to make football massive in the States.
Yeah, they're
And I'm
just, well,
pretty
they're
sure
trying to make
part-
as much money out of it as possible, aren't they? They don't want the
pretty
other
sure
clubs
in the,
joining in.
In the Super League, there was some agreement that some games were going to be played in the States. I'm pretty sure that was part of the agreement. So they are trying to make it bigger over there because obviously it's a much bigger market.
I remember them
if you
saying there was
compare-
a La Liga game. Weren't they going to try and play like an El Clasico out in America?
Yeah, and that's just outrageous. Like, can you imagine like a local derby playing a different country? It makes no sense.
Yeah, no.
That's like the NFL do that at Wembley and all the rest of it, don't they?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think that's the whole idea. These massive American companies, they want to make it like the NFL and the NBA, where it's like on like a massive global scale. I know Premier League is, but like on that level where it's huge.
Would you not say Premier League is bigger than the NFL and NBA because of the amount of countries that watch it?
Yeah, I think the Premier League.
I don't know.
I don't actually know, to be honest with you. I mean,
if you look, I know
wages
it's
they
not,
play those baseball players, for example, is
I
insane.
know, but if you look at the Forbes list, I know it's not necessarily completely accurate, but it's mostly teams from the States. Mostly.
Yeah, well, I suppose they're trying to unlock that market as well, aren't they? To just
Yeah.
get even more revenue in.
This is
So
it.
a thought I've just had, I think the last few decades in England specifically, you've got, I don't know how you define the working class anymore, because a lot of working class families have had much better access to education and all the rest of it. And they're sort of getting professional jobs. So what you define as maybe the real working class is getting smaller and smaller as a percentage of the population. And I don't know
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if that's part, or at least there's enough of a middle class now in the millions, maybe 10 million plus, whereby
I would just think I would personally just say nowadays the definition of working class has changed from it was 20 years ago.
in what sense?
I would just say like the world changes. We're going into a different topic now. I won't go too deep into it, but the world changes all the time, constantly changing, and I think depending on the way of life and how people live, the definition of work will go along with that and change as well. So, for example, the working class 20 years ago, as you were probably known as tradesmen or jobs like that. I don't know, just simple low-level jobs. Well, tradesmen aren't low-level, but
Blue collar,
you'd
yeah.
class job. But nowadays, I don't know. I think you could probably still put professionals even in working class because the cost of living, especially in this country, is so high that I don't know. We're going into a completely different topic, but I would just say that the definition of working class has changed now for me personally.
I don't know if I agree, actually. I think, like I said, I think you've got people from working class backgrounds have way more access to professional jobs now, middle class jobs.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason these clubs, especially in London, like Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, they can just exploit fans. Someone mentioned Liverpool earlier. Liverpool, relatively still a very poor city. I mean, no comparison to London. And Liverpool, Everton fans, they can maybe, I feel like there's a much more community based than, I mean, London, there's no community feeling. So they can exploit that, can't they?
I don't know. Football's just going one way, isn't it, really? Just corporate money. It already is that now. Look at the transfer fees and everything we see and the amount we have to pay, as we were saying earlier. Football's just all about money now. But everything is in this world nowadays, so it's not just football.
So then, guys, based on everything we've just said, what can football fans do to either, I mean, you're not going to stop it overnight, to either limit, you know what I'm saying, limit the progression of exploitation or one day stop it altogether? What can actually be done?
Well, like I said, there's already a cap on away tickets that come in recently. Maybe one day through campaigning, there might be a cap on home ticket prices as well. say like the most expensive one might, cap it at like 50 quid or something like that to, and then obviously the prices go down from there to allow more people to attend.
I'd say
Suppose-
not going to games, but that will never happen because
yeah, that's the
There's
thing.
always
No
someone
one's
waiting.
no one's never gonna. It's never gonna be a
like,
thing where everyone just walks out.
oh well, we hate Spurs or we hate whatever. It's just like it will never happen. It's childish. I don't know why, but I can't really see it stopping personally. I think it's only going in one direction, and there's not many ways in which to stop it. There is ways to stop it, but I don't think it will ever stop.
I think as well, if you do try and stop it, do you know what the clubs will come out and say? They're going to be like, you're actually going to put us out of business, the club that you love. If you actually try and do something about this, we're actually going to suffer. So you're harming us. And then people are like, okay, blimey, right.
Looking at the
Might
whole,
as well spend another 80 quid on a home ticket for, I don't know, Arsenal Stoke or something like that. It's a brilliant use of your money, isn't it? I mean, the only thing I can think of, and again, trying to organise this on a national scale is, I mean, very, very hard. Would not be so much to not go to games, that's part of it, but would actually be for everyone to just cancel Sky Sports, cancel BT, cancel Amazon.
Yeah.
If you had like, say, 1 million people, I mean, how hard would that be? There's tens of millions of football fans in the UK. If you've got 1 million to cancel their stuff, things then may change. I don't know what you lot think of that.
like men in particular, obviously, you love coming home from work, or when you're on the sit down Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff or 5:30 or the 3 o'clock kickoffs we can't see in this country for some reason. But the late and early kickoffs on a Saturday, you sit down with a beer, or it's just like routine. You know what I mean? It's like I can't wait. Like you're working all week, you can't wait for the football Saturday, sit down, watch it with a beer, maybe some food. On the Sunday, you have a roast watching the football, might go to the pub, join up with the lads, whatever it is. It's like culture, as Callum was saying earlier. It's culture. That's a good point. I can't see it.
hard.
Ever. It's not gonna
Basically, I think what it is if you're a fan of a team for your whole life, as us four all are, well, as 3 of us are, we all sort of get.
Yeah, what's wrong with you, mate? Come on.
We all sort of get attached, don't we? And we get really like emotionally invested to this team. And then if you know your team is playing and you can't watch it because you're doing a protest, I'd find that really difficult. I really would to just accept that I can't watch them.
Yeah,
because you feel like you're part of them. It sounds silly. I know it's a football team. I know it sounds silly, but you feel like you're part of the team, don't you?
I love not watching Spurs. It stresses me out, mate.
Yeah, I know, but
I don't know, you ever there sometimes you watch a game of football for 2 hours and like obviously your team loses and you just think I could have just done so much. I don't know. Is there any logic in being a football fan? Because I feel like
no, there's not.
Stress then.
There's really not.
Like,
is there really?
It's like I feel like the cons of being a football fan are worse than the pros.
Yeah, but the highs are so high.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
So it sort of makes up for it. That makes sense.
Yeah, maybe.
It's easy to exploit fans as well when their team's doing well because they just want to turn up and see. Like if their team's winning and stuff like that, I think they could probably charge about £1,000 for the tickets in the gods, and someone would buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, back to your point, the highs are so high. What highs have you seen as a Spurs fan?
I put the pressure on once, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but watch us in the Champions League this season.
I know my team's in it as well. I know. Top the SPL, so might play you boys.
Which team then? You got to narrow that one down.
You've got a few teams done.
I've got a few, yeah. You know, the Glaswegian one.
Just going off topic, we're in the Champions League this year. I saw the other day while they're ringing the qualifying rounds. I didn't realise that.
Yes, Rangers did us a favour, basically doing well in Europe.
Oh, really?
Partially, yeah, and Russia getting teams excluded, yeah.
I know this is a different thing as well, right? But going back to like the price of things, like the prices of food and stuff in the stadium is an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, I know,
Actually, it is absolute. That's another thing as well. We haven't mentioned like because the thing is, there's so many you could pretty much reel everything off, like merchandise, tickets, food, drink. All of it is like especially in my experience going to Spurs, it's so expensive.
Game is like 150 quid, maybe bordering even more. You've got the ticket, you've got travel, you've got food, you've got drink, and that's just yourself. Imagine if you're bringing your children as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got a child or 2 children or 3 children or however many children. It's an expensive day out, and you have to be working
That's basically it.
a lot or have a decent job. It's just
Yeah. So it basically, if you're like you said earlier, but if you're from like a working class family, you can't justify that. You can't, can you?
Can't do that.
Maybe once a year. Maybe once a year.
I know, but how sad is that? The working class man can't go. It's awful. But it is
Crazy.
what it is.
Like I have a football game now. The last football game I went to was Arsenal versus Red Star Belgrade in the Europa League, maybe 2.5 years ago. It was a 0-0 as well.
That was meant to be the worst game ever, apparently. I never watched it.
Left at half time. And I'm admitting this on YouTube, and I'm sorry, but it was I was watching, like, I don't know who was playing. I can't even remember the starting lineup for Arsenal, but it wasn't very good. And the Red Star Belgrade, it was just the best thing about that game was the fans of Red Star Belgrade. They were unbelievable. I was watching them more than I was watching the game.
Was it worse than Scotland Edinburgh under 21s? Scotland Denmark, Scotland Edinburgh.
Yeah. At least there was some goals in that.
Yeah, it was a goal.
One goal.
It was one goal. Yeah. I suppose it's better. Yeah. That was quite early on as well, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
If you lasted till the end, many thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye.